皆さんこんにちは。ナビゲーターの溝口俊介です。東急シアターオーブがお送りするオーブトーク。今回は朝のニューヨーク、昼のロンドン、そして夜の東京の3都市をつないでお届けします。今回のゲストはオペラ座の怪人、レ・ミゼラブルといった大作で主役を務める世界的スター、ラミン・カリムルーさん、そして数々のミュージカルやストレートプレイを手掛ける演出家のダニエル・カトナーさんです。ラミンさん、ダニエルさん、こんにちは。Hi, Ramin and Daniel.
Hello. こんにちは。
Could you briefly introduce yourselves? ちょっと自己紹介お願いします。Starting with Ramin.
Well, hello, my name is Ramin Karimloo, and just real pleasure to be on your show and speaking with Theatre Orb and Daniel Kutner. And I really missed Japan. You know, I should have been there 2 more times already this year, and it's what a time to be living. But I miss you guys, and thanks for having me.
Thank you, Ramin. Dan?
Yes, hi, I'm Daniel Kutner, New York-based director and former chief associate to Broadway legend Harold Prince. And I'm sitting here in New Jersey, just over the bridge from Manhattan, in semi-quarantine, waiting all of this out. And I echo Ramin's sentiments. I miss Japan terribly. It's one of my favorite places, probably my favorite place to work on this planet. And very happy to be part of this program.
Okay, so moving on to the first theme, we're going to be talking about the current situation. まずは、現在の状況をいろいろとお聞きしたいと思います。やはり新型コロナウイルスが世界中で猛威を振るっていますが、もう世界中で劇場が閉鎖状態となっています。自粛期間中、先ほども少しお話がありましたが、どのように過ごされたんでしょうか。So, as you kind of briefly gave us what you were doing during quarantine earlier, could you explain to us how you're spending quarantine life? Dan?
I've had, I've had some interactions. I'm working with a Broadway producer right now on acquiring the rights to a new piece of material. So that's been nice. But, on the flip side, I'm sure like Ramin, I'm itching to get back to work. I think we all are. And there's just absolutely nothing we can do about it. At this point, and it's very humbling and very sobering, and unlike anything we've seen in this world, for at least in this country, for over 100 years.
I've only started to play more music recently. There's been people that have been trying to think out of the box with how we can still do performances for supporters and people who still want to support the arts where they can. So there's been a lot more interest with some virtual or remote recordings of shows. So we're working on songs for New World now, which is great because, with Dan, we've worked with Jason Robert Brown, and it's a show and a piece I've always wanted to tackle because it's difficult. So I knew I'd come out just even a better musician and artist for having attempted to tackle that material and to work with some people that I've always wanted to work with. But it's not the same, to do it remotely. If I knew this was our future always, I don't think I would continue doing it because I miss the personal interaction, the feeling the energy in the space. So it's hard. It's bittersweet because so we get to perform, but it's not the version that I dreamt of as a kid when I thought I want to be an actor. This is not what I envisioned. So we're trying to adapt and just be grateful. I've been doing a lot of carpentry. Who knew I was into doing that? So I figured I'll try to build things.
Jesus.
Yeah. Well, I played his father, Joseph. So I remember I was making this garden door, the gate, and I was doing the sanding, and I actually bent down and I did this. And I was like, I did that in the show because I played in Jesus' story. I played Joseph, and at that time I knew nothing about woodworking. Like, oh, you would probably do this and blow that off, and I was like, oh, I actually did it.
Wait,
so it's been nice to do that.
Ramin, are you telling the Japanese audiences that you might be Jesus?
No, his father. I wouldn't be so bold.
No, you were born in Iran, right? So you meet the criteria for where Jesus was born, you might be the second coming.
Listen, that's not my place
Possible.
to say, is it?
It's possible. You see how
Yeah.
thirsty I am for some sort of creative nugget to feed upon.
This might have got a lot more hits than they anticipated, and maybe not for the right reasons now. I've been doing a lot more gardening, but lately, now when I've accepted to do some of these more these performance projects, even something that's coming up to do a solo concert finally again, but remotely. We're gonna try and film that for people. It's been hard because I figured if I keep saying no, when am I going to start saying yes? I got to start trying to perform again and enjoy and find the joy in singing at a time where it's hard to find joy. But I guess, with what we're going through in many aspects in the world, you got to, I guess, go to what you know how to do best for now to try and express yourself, or even as a release, even if it's simply just to try and entertain again and press pause sometimes on something that we're all still trying to make sense of. As a father, this pandemic was tough because you keep finding yourself in moments of really enjoying the time and space, but under the circumstances, it's not like I've taken 4 months off from work, knowing that in 4 months I'm going back to work. There's an illness, people are dying, people are getting sick. So it keeps catching you out, and I almost feel guilty with the time and maybe enjoying that time, because I keep stopping myself going, these aren't the circumstances I would have wanted the time that I have received. But every day I just try and be grateful that we are healthy, that we are able to pay the bills, we are able to woodwork, garden, play music, and just trust that we'll slowly get back to more moments where we can start seeing each other face to face and performing live again.
ダンさんもラミンさんも両方、こんな中でもいろいろと進んでるっていうのは世界中のファン、そして演劇ファンに、ミュージカルファンにとってもとてもいいニュースですよね。Thank you for that. So next is question for Ramin. So during this time, you said that you just mentioned earlier that you started playing music with other artists and singers worldwide. How was the response from your friends and fans? 世界中のアーティストの方たちとラミンさんがコラボしてるっていうことを拝見しましたが、どんな反響がありましたでしょうか。Ramin?
I'm not sure. I hope they liked it. I try not to pay too much attention to maybe, viewership or statistics or comments, because that's not why I would do it anyways. And then, so I think it's been good. People still seem to follow me, which is nice to know that. But ultimately, we do those things because we just want to do it. We enjoy doing it, whether it's because of a reason, that might be to express yourself, to say something, or just to entertain. It was a way that I could still stay connected. I've done a few virtual duets with Sierra in New York, Yushirota in Japan. And to be able to do that was pretty amazing, especially from the comfort of your own home. But again, it will never take the place of what I would really want to do. But I think it's been well received. I still wanted to, sometimes I do these videos because it's a way to say thank you for supporting me, because there's times when, as I only use my Instagram really for promotion. But then, you're constantly asking people, you should buy this ticket, come see this, come in, that costs money. And it's not lost on me that people spend their hard-earned money to watch us perform and see our performances. So to do these videos, it's also a thank you and a chance for me just to freely sing and just for enjoyment.
I see. I'm sure fans worldwide are very lucky to have your videos to see. 本当に日本のファンの皆さんも嬉しいですよね。こうやってラミンさんとか世界中の方々が発信してくださるっていうのは。でやっぱり何か反応を知りたいとかではなくて、やりたいから、あとは発表したいから、表現したいから、そして皆さんへのお礼のためにっていうのがまた嬉しいですよね。 Thank you, Ramen. So moving on to how you two met. お二人の仲のことをちょっと聞きたいんですけれども、お二人はいつどこで初めて会ったんでしょうか。その時のことを覚えてるんでしょうか。So Dan and Ramen, how long have you two known each other? Do you remember the first time you met?
I do.
Yeah, I sure do as well. It was 4 stars, wasn't it?
But where? No, before that, where did we meet?
Before 4 stars, we met in Japan for the first time, didn't we?
No,
Tell
New York City.
Tell me, you tell me. I'm the old man. How old are you, Ramin?
33.
Yeah, you're a younger guy. So tell the audiences how we met, because what I remember was being in Osaka, and the producers of the 4 stars event put us in a room, and we drank more than I've ever drank in my entire life. And
Diet Coke.
Diet Coke. Yes, nothing alcoholic during the Prohibition era. But
Dan, do you not remember? No, don't. First of all, Hal Prince's office.
Yes.
2012, when we came to originally talk about Prince of Broadway.
Oh yes.
Then you came to my BB King's gig where we talked about 4 stars.
Yes, of course. Okay, yes, BB King's. BB King's is when we first when we first really connected, because Prince of Broadway, to me, I mean, that was like a 30-year project, so I get the chronology a little askewed, but I absolutely remember your concert at BB King's and going backstage and you killing it at that venue. You were magnificent.
Isn't the irony as well? We also discussed Evita then.
Yes. Well, it's no surprise. I mean, you were born to play Che. Thank God you played it. I'm sorry that it was only for a short run in one city, and that I wasn't able to get you to Australia. But still, huh?
I still bite every now and then. I'm like, oh, I should have done it.
No. But you were. I mean, I know we're going to move on to that topic later. But you're a natural Phantom, a natural Che, a natural anything. The lead character, the first actor comes to my mind is you, and it's mostly you. Before you say no, and I have to move on to somebody else, or you say yes, and we get to work together again.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate your support and your
absolutely.
続きましてはオペラ座の怪人、そしてハロルド・プリンスさんのトピックに移りたいと思います。皆さんご存知の通り、ラミーさんが俳優として大きな飛躍を遂げたのはプリンスさんがオリジナル演出を手掛けました名作オペラ座の怪人です。ラミーさんにとってもウエストエンド初主演となった作品ですが、オペラ座の怪人役をやるにあたってどう思いましたか？ Ramen, so we understand that Phantom, we can say that was one of your breakthrough roles, so to say. How did you feel when you first got the offer for the role? And it was your first title role in West End, correct?
Well, it was certainly a breakthrough moment because of my age and the 21st anniversary. So it was like everything aligned perfectly for that moment to help maybe put a bigger spotlight on the show and myself. But prior to that, I did Raoul and Enjolras, which are title roles as well. But, I know what you're saying with Phantom, and from then what happened with my life. I remember I was going to see a show at Regent's Park Open Air Theater with Mandy when I got the call saying, you're going to get a mask. And that was when I first got the contract at 26. And I was like, whoa. It was weird because it's something I always thought I would do. And I don't mean in a very egotistical way, but I came from a small town where you're taught to dream big and no one ever told you no. And because I was untrained, I never really considered what a hard dream that necessarily was to achieve, because you were never everyone when I grew up, I was the guy who was going to go be the Phantom and do Phantom, and all my friends are like, yeah, sure, no problem. Nobody ever, there was no competition and no sense of let's bring him down. They were always trying to push me up and support that. And so I remember when I got the call, it was on the way, we were walking and it's going to happen. I put the phone down and I was just like, I was numb because your dream was coming true. And I had time to live in that. It wasn't like it happened in front of my face. Like I had a whole 4 weeks before even rehearsal started to let that sink in and daydream even more, because I'm a big daydreamer, more now than ever. So, and I remember when they were first putting on the makeup for my first performance, I couldn't stop laughing. I kept looking in the mirror and I couldn't stop laughing because, you know, when they say you have butterflies, but my butterflies are everywhere. They were tickling me. I was nervous. I was excited. But I don't know. And I never had doubts. But that's probably the good thing. There wasn't much social media back then, too. So I wasn't worried about expectations or reviews or people's opinions. It was more about, I'm a fan. Now I'm a fan in the mask and an actor who's dreamt of this moment. So like everything was just positive and I was just there to have a great time. So at that point, there was no egos. And my ego got involved at some point, and then we got rid of that quickly. But I hope. But it was phenomenal. Even to this day, I to the final performance, I had the most fun, and I would love to do it again now because I feel like so much time has separated me from when I last did it over 10 years ago, that it'd be interesting, and if it would feel fresh to try it again.
I see. Well, that's a wonderful story that you have just told. やはりその夢を追い続けて、その結果オペラ座の怪人の怪人を射止めたっていうのはなんかかっこいいですよね。なかなか真似できないと思うんですけど、ダニエルさんはラミさんのファントムどう思いましたか？ What did you think of Ramin's Phantom when you saw it?
Well, I think it's exceptional. I mean, it's one of the hardest roles, and it carries the weight of being so iconic, that, you know, Ramin was talking about, you know, the dream of playing Phantom. I mean, it was iconic before he even stepped in. It's been iconic for so many years that, you know, I think many actors are overwhelmed by it. And there has to be a point where you take that, you know, just the enormity of that, set it aside and say, I'm playing a role, who has intentions, who has a backstory, who's three-dimensional, and you dive into it the way you would dive into any character. And I feel personally like Ramin is one of the very few people who was able to achieve that.
But we also we don't always see eye to eye necessarily either. Like in Vita, we had a few moments in rehearsals like this, but I also have the trust to go, okay, I don't like what you've asked of me, but I'm gonna try it.
Same.
And then I'm like, okay, that was a good idea, Dan. Let's keep it.
Yeah, that's what collaboration is. I mean, I think you bring up an excellent point. It's not about compliance. It's not about, oh, he's the director, I should do what he says. You know, there's different categories of actors. There's the actors of, oh, the director has said something, I must deliver it. There's the actor who just won't take the note, who just challenges everything that you say. And then there are collaborators who agree with you sometimes, and where the director says, oh, you know what? That actor has brought forth an excellent idea. I hadn't thought about that. Let's go in that direction. And there's a back and forth, but it all stems from mutual respect, which is earned, but which is also part of one's personality. You know, you have to be able to go into a project saying, you know what, maybe I don't know this person so well. Maybe I know their reputation, or maybe I know this or that about them, but I am going to hand over my trust until I'm disproven. And Ramin's one of those people.
And usually the challenge for me, especially with Evita, I found is like, if I get a note or a direction, if I don't understand it, I want to be able to understand what Dan wants of me in this moment so I can deliver that. So it's not necessarily a challenge of like, I don't necessarily like the idea or I don't want to do that. It's, I don't understand. How can we bring me up to speed or vice versa? So then we can at least try what we're attempting.
Well, that's the epitome of collaboration, because Ramin is an organic actor, and if something doesn't sit well in his body and his head, it's not going to translate. It's not going to deliver. He can't fake it, And so if I see that, then obviously I have not been, either he's not understanding it the way that I'm intending, or I'm not articulating it in the way that's usable as an actor. So there's that give and take or whatever. But the whole point is to know that we're in it together, and that we're to figure it out together. And that when you have one of those breakthroughs, it's cathartic for, not just the director or the actor, but for everybody. And hopefully that translates to the audience and creates something magical.
I remember that happened in Evita with the accents. At first I was like, oh, I don't think I can pull off the accents in a Rainbow Tour.
Yeah, then sure.
I went home, started working on it. Then I text you, I'm going full out accents now. And you're like, no, bring it halfway. Just go halfway. I said, I'm going full Spanish.
I love that. You're like, I can't do that accent. It's like, oh, for God's sake, of course you can. And you just went home, you did your work, and wow, you came back. That's the best part for a director, when an actor takes on the challenge and they come in at 250%, and you get to pull them back to something usable and workable. Yeah.
I'm so sorry we made this question so long in the answer. No.
It's perfect. This is what we wanted. 役者と演出家っていうその立場があって、その中でどういい化学反応を起こして作品を作っていくかっていうのはいろんなスタイルがあって、本当に回答がないっていうことがよく分かりましたね。